everybody, and welcome to Hex Token channel. Your host Superman in the house again. Live stream number 2 today, and of course the first channel to live stream Pulsechain live. Woo! We are archived in the history of Pulsechain, and beautiful taste there. 5 beautiful hours of live coverage right from the very beginning, and it was an honor and a pleasure, and we love it because we love Pulsechain. So that's pretty cool. Hope you guys are having a good time. Now, we've seen a lot of questions in Discord and other places. People asking really basic questions, maybe because you haven't bothered focusing on Pulsechain. Well, this is for you because get your questions in the chat there. I'm going to do a quick overview of Pulsechain for beginners, and then, of course, get your questions in there. We'll do our best to answer those as well. And, yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get into it and see who's in the chat first, though. I'll try and put a timestamp maybe tomorrow on the chat, on the live stream. Since this is kind of a beginner's video, so we'll get into it. Pulse Biker in house there. Let's go 100%. Who else there? We're going to jump through that. We got Power Plants in the house. Good to see Power Plants. We got Bob Wells in the house as well. Good to see you. Can't wait, Superman. 100%. We got Kiwi Crypto in the house. Awesome, Superman. Hey, you're welcome. And lots of chants out there. Good to see Kiwi Crypto in the chat there too. Richard Lloyd in the house. Exciting times. Hello from the UK. Big shout out to you as well. Rango as well. Afternoon all. Good to see you, Rango. Love the fact that Dick Screen listed Pulse already. I know that was a really upside there. They did make a mistake, and I was calling it out in the chat there. I was confused by their putting US dollars up in a liquidity pool, and of course that was not the case. And they took that down. I was watching, and they took down live after the live stream. They took down those liquidity prices, which was good because it would have been very deceptive to people, and people were probably making bad decisions there. So kind of cool. Blair SM, hi all, good to see you, Blair. Detached Soul as well, Yo Superman and Fan Bam. Please help Super, says Brennan. Good one, Brennan. And we've got number 1 takes the Kiwi to the win, says Kiwi Crypto. Brennan says I'm not having a good time, lol, says Brennan. Now, Brennan, you're supposed to be a master of these things, man. Brennan's supposed to be leading the way. I'm sure you're best being a drama queen there. We got Okuratani and else there. MetaMask error while co-acting to the custom network, not able to connect to Pulsechain. Sounds like a robot, that one. Well, we'll talk about that later on. Wayne Dad is Pulse down. We're going to talk about that too. I think there are some problems. I cannot switch to Pulsechain like half an hour already. We'll get onto all that stuff, so stay tuned for all that. And, of course, D-Hex as well. Woo! Let's go, Hexkins, 100%. So big welcome to everybody. We're going to get into it, folks. Let's pull it in and pull up the window. I'm going to go through this quite slowly. The first bit is our overview of Pulsechain. It has launched, has gone live about 8 hours ago. And Richard Hart himself announced it on his YouTube. That's the only one on his Twitter. It's the only one I haven't pulled up, actually. So let's pull it up. Richard Hart himself, the founder of Hex, of course, now the founder of Pulsechain and PulseX. And, of course, it is 677 days at least in the making. And now Pulsechain is live. So these are the official announcements from Richard Hart 8 hours ago. Pulsechain.com mainnet is now live. Now, it's always important, first of all, to go through the official sites and get all the official links. And secondly, it's important to know that there are scammers out there everywhere. And, of course, you're on Twitter, YouTube, nowhere else. They're going to pop up. They're going to offer you deals you can't believe. And, of course, you can't believe them because they're going to steal your crypto. So don't interact with anything that's unofficial. Don't go for any super bonus free airdrops that you're going to get, okay? So the only thing that's happened here is that Pulsechain has forked the Ethereum proof of stake blockchain, and that's a huge deal. It means you get a copy of everything that you had on Ethereum over on Pulsechain if you had them at the fork block. And, of course, we're going to talk about that as well in our overview. So big news, folks. This is the biggest thing in crypto, and it's going to be a phased launch. So in other words, it's going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time. We're talking about it being like blowing up a balloon. So it is very important that you understand that. At the moment, we're only in the first phase. Second phase will be very important, and that's going to open up the US dollar value of the chain. So at the moment, you get a chance to get up a lot of the top tokens, Pulsechain and PulseX and things like that. So it really is a big opportunity. So very, very exciting. So Pulsechain.com, I'm going to post the link to this tweet in the chat there in case you haven't seen it. But it's very important that you go to the official sites and that you don't get scammed, right? Those are the 2 most important things you can remember is to use the official links and don't get scammed. Have you got that? I've said it a couple of times, so hopefully that's cool. So let's get into it. So here we are on Pulsechain.com. The other tweet, of course, was that Pulsechain is up as well. So Pulsechain is a fork of Ethereum proof of stake. It's the first there has ever been. It's very, very clever. And of course, PulseX is the fork of Uniswap with a pancake swap front end that's being branded for PulseX. And that's really, really cool. So now we've got a DEX and we've got the main chain. So we've got everything we need to really kick things going. And on top of this, you're going to build out the whole ecosystem is going to drop. And a big amount of that ecosystem is going to drop over the next 2 months. So it's very important that you realize that that's going to expand like blowing up a balloon. It's going to get bigger and bigger pretty quick. And of course, it's not going to stop growing as it's going to keep growing over time with lots more stuff coming down the line. So very, very exciting. So that is the introduction. We're going to get into a lot of other tweets that Richard has got in here. And of course, he's got this here. Your Pulsechain and Pulsechain Mainnet net tokens are now under your dominion and control and have zero value. That's how they start off. Everything started off at zero value when Pulsechain launched. So very important there. And of course, he has added the chain. This is the chain details to add that on. So all you have to do is, if you've got a MetaMask wallet, is add on the network and you'll be able to see your tokens on the Pulsechain. You might have a few issues here and there, but generally you should be able to see your tokens. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So those are the updates there for the chain. You just add that manually, but you can do it automatically through the block scale explorer. We're going to talk about that coming up. So pretty cool. Now, there are official addresses for some of those common addresses. So obviously Hex is the first token that Richard Hart has founded on the Ethereum chain. That is the official address on Pulsechain. So it's got OX2B and ends with EB39. So I'm going to post this in the chat as well, just in case you want to add those manually, but you can add them through PulseX. So Hex and a PulseX contract. PulseX contract. And that is the tweet for that. So notice how I'm giving you the official tweets from Richard Hart. So you can double check those too, but that is where the contracts are. I know many of you want to add those manually, so you can do that. Pretty easy. So let's do that. And then we're going to move on to the warning that Richard Hart gives. So the same warning I just gave you about don't fall for scams, they are everywhere. Twitter, everywhere. They'll be knocking on your door every day. And so be careful out there. Don't fall for fake Pulsechain or Pulsex tokens, particularly people jumping into Telegram or this or that. Take a lot of care. We don't want you to get scammed because this is the biggest thing in crypto. So don't don't get yourself in trouble like that way. Remember that you can't trade Pulsechain anywhere. You can't trade it on Ethereum, but only on the Pulsechain network. Remember that? So we already had someone in our Discord already say that they had bought some on Ethereum with Pulsechain. Nah, you can't do it. They got scammed. And because just be careful out there. There are people, tricksters out there all over the place. Pulsechain is the place to be. There are no bridges or exchanges yet, right? So there's no stable coins, no value, US dollar value to it yet. The bridge is not opened and there's no exchange listings yet. So that's very important to remember. Don't get scammed. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, if you do operate on Pulsechain, have a stuck transaction, K4K, another influencer in the space, has got a nice little resolution here where you can just swap out the nonce in your transaction and override the stuck transaction. So you'd probably pay a bit more gas fee, but you can do that as well. There's a little trick there. Kind of cool. Very cool. So we're going to jump through some of these other updates that Richard has given, but very, very bullish indeed. And at the moment, of course, the performance is running pretty well. 4 hours ago, it was running at 10-second block times, 126 transactions per block, a rate of over 1 million transactions a day, which is up where Ethereum is. Very, very bullish start to Pulsechain. Very, very cool. Also, the buy and burn has reached over 2 billion with the buy and burn. So we're going to talk about that. So the chain is performing pretty well. Now, there is a bit of slowdown on the RPC at the moment. So some of you may be having troubles connecting, but I'm sure that will resolve itself in due course. During this time, I have been doing some transactions on the Pulsechain and PulseX, and it's been working fine for me. But if you were trying to log on, you may have found some issues. Some people were finding issues with that. We're going to talk about that too. So that is kind of the updates from Richard Hart, the official Twitter, and cool to see. So well done to Richard Hart and the team, Pulsechain team, all the devs. Very, very cool. So we're going to get in Pulsechain. So here is Pulsechain. I'm going to post the link to this in the video description. I did say I was going to do an overview first of all. So there is a video. There's the official site, Pulsechain there, pulsechain.com. And it has all the links that you need. So it's got the Beacon Explorer. That's for validators. So if you want to check out the brand new Explorer, that is the Beacon Explorer for validators. We're going to look at that in a second. It's got the Pulsechain Block Scout Explorer. So there are 2 explorers. This Block Scout Explorer here is what just the general people use to look into the blockchain. So if you want to query your wallet, your address, things like that, we're going to do it on them. Thirdly, there is a bridge that is not open yet. The bridge, the Pulsechain Bridge, is the official bridge between Pulsechain and Ethereum, and that is not open yet. We're waiting for that to open. That is the second phase of the launch, as you will. So we've just had the first phase and it's ongoing, but the second phase is coming up with the bridge. So until we get the bridge open, we won't have stable coins, we won't have US dollar values. Just remember that. And we do have a third-party Portal X from Power City. I understand that they may be up to a few weeks away with the launch of their Portal X, but we'll wait to hear from them in due course. Maybe they'll get there sooner. We'll see. So that's pretty cool. They've got over 63 blockchains that they will be able to cross-trade over that. So that's huge for Pulsechain, massive for Pulsechain, that bridge. And so at the moment, we've got the official bridge coming up. There's also PulseX, of course. We talked about that. Uniswap V2, we're going to talk about that. That's where people are buying and selling, basically ratio trading at the moment. And of course, there is also the validator. If you want to become a validator, there's the validator page if you want to set that up. And of course, if you're looking at validator resources, you can think about David Feder in the community, RH Max in the community, Hodl Dog in the community, or Gamma from the Pulsechain team. So there are 4 key resources there. You can follow up on their YouTube channels. We do have some of the links in our useful links in Discord. So all the links that we're going to cover today, they're inside the useful links on our Discord. So if you join up to a Discord, it is free in the video description. Someone might post it in the chat. You can also follow us on there. We do have all the links to Pulsechain there, so you can check that out. Once again, you can always go back and check it with the official ones from Richard Hart. So that's pretty cool. Let's jump over to the chain at the moment. So you can see at the moment, I'm just going to zoom this up here. This is the RPCs. You probably don't need a link to this, but this is showing you that we've still got testnet V4 up, but we've got mainnet up now. You can see the RPC services up at 36% there. So some people are probably having some experience, some issues, but I'm sure that will turn to normal as we move forward in time, because I'm sure the team is monitoring that. So let's jump over to the Pulsechain Mainnet. So what is Pulsechain forked? We know it's the first a fork of Ethereum proof of stake, so it's a really big deal. And of course, Ethereum's fees are extremely high, so that's caused a lot of pain. But we do have two explorers here. We've got the Block Scout Explorer here, the first one, and the Beacon Explorer. We're going to check those out. So those are the two. And if we go to the first one there, we can see that the chain, this gives us a window into the chain. And currently, this is pretty cool. So we're going to be watching the transactions are going to go through the roof for tomorrow when they come in on the 13th. And that's going to be exciting. We have 10-second block times. So Ethereum is 12-second block times. So we've got 10-second block times, about 17% faster. And the wallet addresses, we'll expect that to just tick up over time as the network indexes itself. And so we'll probably hit up, I don't know, guessing around about 220 million or something like that, maybe 230 million wallet addresses. We will see. So that is that's the blockchain, but like a window into the house, as it were. And of course, we've got the blocks just ticking away at the top there, and the transactions in those blocks below. So you can see all those blocks there, just waiting on the transactions and so forth. We can see who was using the chain, as it were, the blood of the chain, the lifeblood of the chain. So it's pretty cool. So the other thing we have also is the tokens. We have Pulse at the top there. That is the coin. Remember, Ethereum is the coin for Ethereum, and Pulse is the coin for Pulsechain. Those are the ones you pay fees with. Now, you may see a wrap version of Ethereum on Ethereum on all the liquidity pools. You'll see a version of Pulsechain on Pulse. Those are basically a reflection of the coin, but they are smart contracts. So they're ERC20s. So they give more flexibility to the actual coin. So they, as a token, as a wrap token, they give more flexibility to the coin. So wrap Pulse as opposed to Pulse. So you can use that into doing DeFi smart contracts and things like that. They've got that smart contract ability to them. So that's why you might see wrap Pulse. If you get confused about that, some people get confused. So there is a Pulse coin, PLS, and there is a wrap version, a PRC20 version, which is the same as an ERC20 on Ethereum. And that is wrap Pulse. So yeah, that's what you might see a W Pulse there as well. So that's very important to remember. Some people get confused by that. So that is the summary of those tokens. You can obviously see that we have the coins there. You got all the addresses that hold all the Pulse, including all the Sacrifice wallets that receive their Pulse. And then we've got all the PRC20 tokens and other tokens there under the all tokens. So you'll be able to see the PRC20s is equivalent to the ERC20s on Ethereum. And of course, you'll see all the copies that were on Ethereum copied over to Pulsechain as PRC20s. So very, very, very important there. You can see at the top there, number 3 is Pulsex. This is the second biggest token, the token of the Pulsex exchange. And of course, you can see the supply there is 143 trillion, but probably around about 88% of that is in the Sacrifice wallets or Origin accounts. You don't really need to worry about that. The rest of it, probably around about 17 trillion or so, is in the public hands as a result of the Pulsechain Sacrifice that was held in 2021 at the end of 2021, 2022. So pretty cool. And then you can see all the other tokens here, including stablecoins. Now, just remember these stablecoins like US dollar Tether and things like that, they don't actually have any value. They're not really backed. So just be careful you don't trade out all your Pulse for these stablecoins because they're just copies and they're not actually backed. So just take care out there, USDC and things like that. Don't get tripped up by that. So you may have got copied that over onto the Pulse chain, but don't trade out all for those thinking you're going to get $1 for each of them, right? That's not going to happen until the bridge opens up. So be very careful out there. That's an easy trick. All right, so that is pretty much the tokens. And if you go to the apps page here, you're going to see all the apps. So you got the Beacon Explorer. That's the second one Explorer that we have, which is for validators. And then we're going to got the Pulsex, of course, for the DEX, where you're going to trade, buy and sell, provide liquidity, do yield farming, one-side staking pools, buy and burning, the DAO, limit orders, all that sort of stuff is on Pulsex. Then we've got the Pulse Ramp Bridge. That is the official bridge. That's not open yet. That's phase 2. And of course, we're expecting that to launch within probably 24 to 48 hours after Pulsechain is launched. So, another day or so. And that's going to be pretty important for the stable coins and getting US dollar values on all these cryptos that are sitting on Pulsechain. It's going to be pretty important. Obviously, there's a sacrifice checker if you participated in Pulsechain and Pulsechain Sacrifice. That's there as well. And of course, have become a validator. You can find that there also. So all the links here on the main page. Now, step 1, you come to Pulsechain. You can see the Explorer. You're going, how do I connect to the Pulsechain? Well, all you have to do is either manually add it at the bottom here. Now you can go to Pulsechain, add in this manually to your wallet. So we're going to do that quickly first. We're going to open up the wallet here so you can quickly see that if you want to do it manually. And you can just go to the circle on your wallet. You can go to, just scroll down to settings at the bottom, go to networks, and then click add a network. That's how easy it is. Add a network manually. Then all you have to do is copy in all these details, one after another into your wallet. And once you've done that, the chain ID is 369. So that is the chain ID 369. Once you've added in those 5 pieces of information, you can then click save. Once you've clicked save, you will be able to swap over. If you're on Ethereum, you'll be able to swap over to the Pulsechain network, and that's pretty easy to do. So you can go Pulsechain and you'll be on the Pulsechain network, right? What you will see is your Pulse coins. If you had Sacrifice, you'd have your Pulse coins in there. Otherwise, you've got to add in each coin individually, and we'll show you a quick, easy way of doing that. So that's the manual way. The automatic way, of course, is to just go to the bottom of the Pulsechain Explorer, the Block Scout Explorer here. Go to the very bottom and click Add Pulsechain at the bottom. See that? Add Pulsechain, and you just click on that. It's going to pop that up on your MetaMask, and you just go, okay, I approve that network, and it's going to do it for you. And you will be able to just see it automatically in your wallet under Pulsechain. It will show up and you'll see it there, and you can click on that and you can jump over to Pulsechain. That's how easy it is. Just adding the network and you're on Pulsechain, folks, which is pretty cool. All right, so that is pretty neat. So let's jump over to that's everything on the website there. There are a few little extra pieces down the bottom and things like that you can check out. So that's very important. But let's jump over to the block. So this here is the first system state fork of Ethereum, and it's a big deal. And let's see, what did it copy? So not only does it have the 2 explorers, it also has the network details here, which is very important. And you can see that here, but it also has the block that has been forked. So my first live stream today, this was not updated, this piece of the page. And as you guys know, I was going, oh, this is very odd. This doesn't make sense. But now it has been updated. So there we are. Another one that we pulled out of the hat there. You are now connected to Pulsechain. And of course, existing Ethereum accounts that have balances as of block 17,232,999. Basically, if you had assets on Ethereum on May the 10th at 10:30 p.m. in the evening, then you would have got a copy of those assets over on Pulsechain. So that was pretty exciting. So very, very recent. Obviously, it's now the 12th or the 13th, depending on where you are. I think it's the 13th. Yeah, it's pretty much the 13th in most places in the world. And of course, this was done on the 10th of May. So if you had assets then, you can expect to see them on the Pulsechain as long as they're before 10:36 p.m. UTC time. If you didn't have them, if you got them after that period, don't expect to see them on Pulsechain. Don't get confused. They're not going to be there because you missed the deadline for block that was on that time. So that was 17,232,999. So very important there. So that's pretty much it, folks. Further down of this page, of course, is the computer requirements for running a validator. And as I said earlier, you've got a couple of resources out there that you can go check out. So let me paste this in here. Block heights for the fork. We put that in there and bam. And let me put Pulsechain fork. Doesn't make it very easy. Pulsechain fork, bam. That is it there. So you can check that out on the GitHub lab there. So keep that as a favorite, and you'll be able to know what block got forked out there, especially if you're coming to search for your tokens. All right, so that is pretty much it. Now, the second block explorer, of course, is the Beacon Explorer. Obviously, if you've been on Ethereum, you may have seen this on Ethereum because they run their own one. But you can see at the moment we have 4,096 validators on Ethereum, on Pulsechain. And the reason why is because we've got certain lingo that you need to get used to. If you're going to look at this explorer, and this is really for validators. It doesn't really matter much to the average user of Pulsechain, but we're just going to go through it briefly. And of course, you have epochs of slots and blocks running on the network. And of course, every epoch has 32 slots that run, and every slot runs 10-second block times. So every epoch's about 5 minutes and 30 minutes long. 5 minutes and 30 seconds long. So it's very important. Now, every slot has validators. There's people that have got computers all around the world that are confirming the blocks, and of course they get paid out of the block reward and other fees like uncle fees out there as well for their service, and it makes the chain more decentralized the more validators we have around the world. So we can see that out of 128 validators for every slot, one of them is going to be the proposer, and the other 127 are going to be known as the testers, and they're going to test that block, and of course they will get paid. So you can see the latest block is ticking along there at the moment. Every 10 seconds, you can see the slots are going through. Now, every slot should have a block attached to it, but occasionally there may be a missed one on a slot. But typically, every slot has a block, and the blocks have transactions, and that's a blockchain, right? The blockchain. So it's pretty easy there. Now, we start off with 4,096 because every epoch has 32 slots, and of course, 32 slots. Every slot has a 128 validators, so 32 times 128 is what? 496. And of course, that's the team, Pulsechain team, that kick off the chain. That is the minimum requirement. Now, in the next couple of days ahead, we should see the chain performance improve, of course, with more validators as well. It's ticking along pretty well at the moment, but the more validators we have ticking along, it's going to be even better. And we should see at least a couple of thousand, maybe 2,300 come on within the next few days to a week. So look forward to that. It's going to be pretty cool. And they're all going to share in the block reward, which is pretty cool. Now we can see the block reward on another page, but we're going to skip through that section. But let's jump over to the Pulsechain ramp. This is the official bridge. This is part of phase 2. We're not at phase 2 yet. And of course, Pulsechain Bridge is going to come online. And we have this message at the moment. This message will go away when the Pulsechain Mainnet bridge is live. So we're waiting for that. This is going to bridge between Pulsechain and Ethereum. And that means it's going to allow stable coins and other tokens to come over back and forth bilaterally through the chain, back and forth. So we're going to have a very, very cool amount of tokens. Now, this is using wrap technology as well. So basically, token on Ethereum, let's say it's a DAI stable on Ethereum, will get locked in on one side, and it will issue a wrapped synthetic version on the other side. And that other token is backed with that solid DAI that is already backed by US dollars and things like that. So that's going to be pretty much a backed value. And of course, that token that gets wrapped over on the Pulsechain side can then be used to go into liquidity pools and provide a dollar reference for the crypto that's on Pulsechain. So that's what everyone's waiting for. You think it's fun ratio trading at the moment, which is the phase 1. Or phase 2 is going to be really when the sparks fly because of the US dollar price attached. So it's going to be fun when that happens. So that's kind of the phase at the moment. Now, at the moment, of course, this is only operating on testnet v4, so you can check it and play around with it. I suggest you do, but mainnet is yet to come for the Pulsechain. There's a second phase of the Pulsechain launch. But as I said to you, it's going to probably be about 2 months at least before we get all the ecosystem landing with all the top DeFi protocols landing as well. Just remember that it's going to take a ramp up of that time, but it's going to be glorious to see play out. Really, really fun. It's already started off with a big bang already, and we're going to get to that in a second. So that is the bridge. And of course, once the bridge gets on, we will have US dollar prices on Pulsex, the DEX, and that's going to be fun to see. But at the moment, people are ratio trading in the first phase. And of course, that means they've got their copies on Pulsechain. They've got their sacrifice airdrops in terms of Pulse and Pulsex. And of course, now most people are just doing nothing, but some people are ratio trading, swapping tokens to get their position at what they think is going to be the best play. Whether it's swapping Pulsex for Pulse or Hex for Pulsex, whatever they're doing, people are doing it. And of course, we're seeing big buy and burn going on there. So at the moment, you can see we've got Pulse and Pulsex here on the top. So what do we got here? We've got exchanges, so you can buy and sell things. We've got liquidity. You can provide liquidity so people can buy, sell things, and you get paid a fee. The fee you're going to get paid is 0.22%. But out of every trade, 0.29% fee is charged, and 0.22% goes to you as a liquidity provider relative to your share of the pool. And of course, 0.07% goes to the buy and burn to buy and burn Pulsex, the main token of Pulsex. But Pulsex is a dual token system. There's Pulsex and there's the incentive token. The incentive token is for yield farmers. And of course, if you provide liquidity, there will be at least up to 4 different pools where you'll be able to get that second token, the incentive token. And of course, the big money comes after these tokens. And we've already seen some rallies in the incentive token already before it's even got a US dollar price attached. So if you go to the farm, this is what happens. So you provide liquidity, you get LP tokens. They represent your position in the liquidity pool, but you can earn the incentive token. So you're not only earning the 0.22% fee in liquidity pool, but you're now also going to earn the incentive token, which is probably going to be a lot more lucrative, and you'll be able to stake for that if you go in this particular pool with Pulsex and Pulse, which are the main 2 tokens of the Pulsechain launch. Obviously, there's going to be other pairs. We're expecting to see probably DAI and Pulse, and then we're expecting to see incentive token Pulse and incentive token Pulsex. So they're yet to come. Now, those last 2 with the incentive tokens, we expect them to have a higher multiplier. We're expecting Pulse and Pulsex and Pulse and DAI and Pulse to have a 10x multiplier, and we're probably expecting the other 2 to have a 40x multiplier. We'll see what happens when they launch, though, and that is not financial advice. So that's pretty cool. We can see that those are up and running already. Now, there is also one-sided staking pools. They are not running, and we don't expect them to be running straight away, but they may run in the future. We are missing 2 main features at the moment, limit orders. We're also missing the DAO, which also will probably vote on these one-sided staking pools. So that is in place. Now, if you want to get a market summary of what's going on, there is the info tab. And at the moment, you'll see there's no USD prices in here. We have to wait for the bridge to open up and that all to be hooked up. So they have tightened this up. So we do expect that to launch, but you won't see any prices there yet. So just be patient. They will show up in due course, maybe within the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll see how fast the team put it up this time. But you can see at the bottom, you can also see people adding and removing liquidity. So you can see that. You can also see some swaps as well. These are 1 day old, though. They're all probably from the AMM bot there. So that's all going to take a little bit of time to populate. In any case, you can search for tokens up at the top right-hand side, which is very important, and that's pretty cool. Now, what else? When you search for tokens, you might search for Pulse, for example, and then you might be able, you've got a little star here. You can make that star and make that your favorite. So see how this has got Wrap Pulse on it? As I said earlier, there is Pulse the coin, and then there is Wrap Pulse. So that is going to be the one you can use for DeFi and liquidity pools and things like that. So that's around. We've also got Pulsex in there too. So it's pretty cool, which Pulsex is already a PRC20. So that's a PRC22. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out first before we get to the details about some of the specifications on Pulsex, there is the buy and burn. So we're going to go to the buy and burn here. we can see at the moment we've got a magnificent 2.09 billion PulseX burn so far. This thing has kicked off really, really nice. And of course, as I said earlier, there's only 143 trillion PulseX, and probably only around about 17 billion or 17 trillion, sorry, or so is in the public's hands, which is pretty exciting. So a 2 billion burn is a great start, and you're going to looking at that burning that supply is going to be pretty impressive over time. So looking forward to that. So as you can see in the right hand there, 2 billion. Now, one of the cool things here is that there is a bounty to the buy and burn, and maybe you can collect it. That is pretty cool. If you're fast enough, you might be able to collect it. And of course, that will pop up every so often, a buy and burn, and it may be profitable. In other words, you get paid a bounty, and it may be some free crypto for some of you if you're fast enough to get it. But you do have to make sure there's enough LP tokens there for that. So there we are. There's a bit of a tip for getting some free crypto. Will cost you a little bit in the Pulse transaction, but if there's enough LP in there, you might make a nice little profit out of that. But you got to be pretty quick when they come up. Now, obviously, with all the big buy and burn, you've got a good chance of that. So let's go back to the trading just quickly. I just want to show you a few features. So if you are in here, you'll probably come in here and it'll look like this. There are a few features that you can do to really speed things up for yourself. The first thing is obviously you can put in tokens and you can buy and sell stuff. That's kind of the obvious one there. You can see 1 million at the moment. Pulse will buy you 3.6 million PulseX. So it's like a 1 to 3.7 or 3.8 ratio, but that's pretty volatile. It's moving around a lot in this range at the moment. The other cool thing is that if you don't have the token added to your wallet, and as I said earlier, I haven't got the token added to my wallet for PulseX. If I didn't have this added, all I have to do is click this little MetaMask wolf, and that will add the PulseX token to my wallet. So you can put any token in here you want, including contract address, and you should be able to find it and add that automatically through PulseX, which is really, really easy, right? Don't have to search the blockchain. Don't have to go through the blockchain here trying to find the tokens like PulseX. You don't have to do that. So if you did it on the Block Explorer, you'd have to go through and try and find the one of these contracts, but you can easily do it on the PulseX here. Click add there. It's also got a copy. You can copy the contract, token address copied, and you can add it manually into the wallet if you wanted. You just have to go down, import your tokens, and add it manually, and away you go there. But of course, I've already added this token. That won't let me do it. So there we are. There's an easy way to do it. Add it automatically or add it manually. You can do both. And of course, you can copy the contract and maybe look at it on the blockchain. Maybe we go into here and maybe have a look on the blockchain and see, how many holders, how many tokens, and all that sort of stuff in this wallet. So we can have a look and see all the details, all the token transfers, etc. Pretty cool. Look at the code, all that sort of stuff. Read, write, all that good stuff there. So that's pretty easy. So that is that at the moment. Some of the other things that you can do, obviously, is you can put the chart on when there's enough data. We've obviously just launched. So when there's enough data, there will be a chart over here. You just have to toggle on this little button. See how it's not green. And click it and it goes green. And it pops up the chart on the left-hand side. And you can see that one pulse will be worth one PulseX, a certain amount of PulseX. And of course, there'll be about 3.6. But at the moment, there's not enough data, so it's just not loading. But when there's enough data, it will load up with a chart. And then obviously, as we get a week and a month, we'll be able to load up all that data too. The other cool thing you can do is obviously flip the ratios. So instead of having Pulse first, you can switch it to PulseX. And so always just imagine to yourself that there's the number 1 in front here. So 1 will equal how many of this PLS, for example, which will be a fraction, right? So maybe about 0.27, something like that, will be the fraction. So 1 PulseX equals about 0.27 pulse, something like that. So that is the play there. So that's pretty cool. There's some little tips and tricks there. The other thing, of course, is that you've got this little cogs up on the right-hand side. The trading is moving really fast. So you might want to do two things. You might want to change the slippage so that if the price is moving really fast, maybe there's a big thin liquidity pool. It's not big enough yet and the price is moving really fast. Then you could increase the slippage. The slippage will default at 0.5%, but you could actually change that manually. And hey, look, you could do 2%. Or you can go up to 5%. It's up to you what you do. But I typically won't go further than 5% myself, but you can do that. Now, if you're in expert mode and this is not really for everybody, then you can do expert mode and you can turn off and, of course, do all sorts of crazy slippages. But that could really hurt you. So I don't generally suggest that. Good financial due diligence. But, depending on how fast the market's moving with the ratio trading, then you can do that. So that's very important. The other thing I would do also, if the gas prices are high, and the market is moving fast, you not only do want to improve your slippage, but you also would want to, if you go to the fee, instead of making it just market fee, go to aggressive and then get that running through. So those two things together should make you not have any problems with your transactions going through for the most part. You shouldn't get into stuck transactions, for example. If you do, of course, there is that Nounce solution from K4K that he was talking about, where you just take the Nounce from your transaction that's stuck, and then you do a new transaction, you put the same Nounce in, you edit the ticket, put the same Nounce in, and then, of course, you pay a higher gas fee to front run that one and cancel the previous transaction. That's the way you do that. So pretty cool. So that's some of the highlights there. The other cool thing with farms, of course, if you go into a farm, they give you a whole ton of links that you'll be able to do to get into the farm as well. You can get some LP tokens by providing liquidity. You can view the contract on the blockchain. You can also see the peer info as well. So there's lots of cool little things there. There's also different views that you can take. You can take the block view here or the line item view. You can change it around you like. And the other cool thing, of course, is the details. You can get the details in there as well. There's lots of cool little things in those tickets, particularly after you provide farming LP. You'll see more details there as well. Very, very cool. The other thing, of course, social media, Twitter and Telegram for PulseX is there as well. That's pretty much that. Now, if you're in a different language, you're not doing English, there are other languages to choose from, and you can switch between that. I haven't actually checked this, but you can check this. Hopefully it's going to work. It's got some of it working, so part of it will be working in different languages. So you can definitely check that out. So let's go for some German. Let's see if it changes that. So I don't know. It's got a little bit of German on here. So they have certainly done a certain amount of it. So wunderbar, as we say, wunderbar, looking good there. So that's some of the cool stuff there. Obviously, with the wallet, you can swap that over. I have to put it back to English so I can understand what I'm looking at. But there we are. You can look at your transactions that you've done. And, of course, you can also disconnect your wallet. Very, very cool. So that is pretty much an overview of that. And finally, if you want to become a validator on Pulsechain, you need to get some hardware. And as I say, there are people that are covering this, David Feder, RH Max, Hodl Dog, and of course, Gamma from the Pulsechain team. And they can help you step through these become a validator steps if you want to do that and earn some Pulse. But you do need 32 million Pulse to do that at the moment. But there will be probably delegation solutions in the future, maybe like Rocket Pool, for example. And of course, you'll be able to delegate less than 32 million Pulse if you don't have that much. So that's kind of cool. So that, folks, is an overview of the Pulsechain. Now, we do have a few other sites, of course, that we do have a look. So this is sort of ancillary. So let's have a look at some of these helpful sites that you might find helpful. Obviously, there is the prices of Pulsechain are already listed on Deck Screener. Now, one of the issues that they had when I was doing my first live stream today is that they had the US dollar prices up here. They had thought that the stable coins on Pulsechain were $1, and of course they had them flooding through the volumes and liquidity, but they took those down, thank goodness, because it was very misleading. And of course now they just have the ratios, so you can see all the ratios here. This is on Deck Screener. Very, very cool. All you have to do is go down and you'll find the Pulsechain icon, probably at the bottom of your screen. But I'm going to post this in the chat there, just didn't want to see it. But that's pretty cool. So cool there. That is the Deck Screener prices on Pulsechain. Remember, there's no US dollar values. Don't fall for US dollar values. The bridge is not open yet. And of course, they made the mistake themselves. Even Deck Screener made the mistake. So if you think you can make the mistake, they made the mistake. And of course, they pulled all the liquidity numbers after they realized that that mistake had been made. So very important there. But you can still see the ratio prices between the assets, and that's important. So that's fine. The other cool thing is, of course, there's Sacrifice Checker. Pulsechain Sacrifice Checker is out there. So you can scan your wallet, and it will find all the tokens that you have copied over to Pulsechain, so if you had ERC20s, they're going to be copied over as PRC20s. You can see them scanned over there as well. But don't remember, all smart contracts that come over, the 721 contracts, NFTs, things like that have also come over. So it's important. All you have to do is connect your wallet and click scan, and you'll be able to do that too. So I'm going to post that in the chat, and you'll be able to find that too. So scan your PRC20 tokens. Bam. So that is the checker there. So add that to your favorites. So as I'm putting these in the chat there, hopefully you guys are adding these to your favorites so you don't lose them, and you can always check them with Richard Hart or anything else like that. Now, there is another channel. This is the third-party site. So this is an official platform, this one. So you can use that, but there is a third-party site here, PRC20s. You don't have to connect your wallet. You can just paste your address in, and it will show you any tokens that you might have in there. And I'll show you an example of this. We're going to go to one of the biggest whales in PulseX and have a look at that. So let's go. We're just going to actually let's pick up one of these random ones here. I'm going to pick up whale number 4 and go copy that into the PRC20s and see what they've got. Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hopefully this works because they might have a lot of these, but we'll see. It's taking a little bit of time there. Just when I decided to put that in. Let's see where it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that didn't seem to work. All right, let's try that one more time. It's typical when we're doing a live stream. It decides it worked perfectly today. Let's see where we go there. All right, that is just completely gone. It's lost itself. So something's gone with the RRC there. Let me just put that in again. PRC20s.com. Let's try that one more time. Let's use a different address this time. Maybe there's something wrong there. Let's pick up this one and have a look at this address. Bam. Come on, you can do it. Probably it may just be my browser because it's overloaded. Maybe it's my browser. Right, so that is is that going to come? Is it going to populate? Is it going to populate? Anyway, we'll come back to that. It should populate. Let's see how we go. I'll post that link in the video description in a second. Let's just take that and we'll pop it in there. Hopefully that works for you, causing me a bit of trouble. All right, let's get into that. Bam. That is it there. And then, of course, finally, if you don't have any pulse and you're saying, oh, you haven't got enough pulse, the transactions are high because everyone's ratio trading. Well, there will be, there is no official, there's no official faucet like there is on testnet v4, but there is free pulse will be coming up soon. They'll be giving a free pulse and they've got games and other stuff on their site. So you can follow them. I'll post the link to free pulse in the chat there. That may be something for you if you're looking for some pulse in the future, but that is not live yet. It's only on testnet v3, which is the old testnet, and that is now down. So you have to wait, follow them on Twitter for when they go live. Finally, I think that's it. On the overview. Hope you guys enjoyed that big overview. That was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but it's important to get all that information out. So we're going to get into the Q&A. So get your questions in there, folks. I'm going to go back through the chat and go through that. So let's do it. Where should I finish here? On some charts. Let's go to PulseX. It's a good place to be. And we'll leave it on here for the time being. Let's put in the ratio. That's always good to see that moving around. So cool. Let's see who is in the chat here. So that is pretty much the overview for beginners. We're going to go through probably about 17 minutes worth of questions. So get your questions in there. Hopefully we can answer them, or if we can't answer them on the live stream, you can jump into our Discord and we'll try and help you there. Remember, if you've got some really obvious things, then try and do the obvious research. There's no need to get into all that. So let's have a look here. So Okurani here, I can't pronounce that name exactly because it's a pretty long name. I will just call you Biley there. MetaMask error while acting to the custom network, not able to connect to Pulsechain. Yeah, probably just leave it a little bit there. Probably just the chain under a bit of pressure. So we definitely saw that earlier. The chain RPC is at 35%. Now let's see. Learn Crypto TV says, is Pulse or Wrap Pulse the main coin? So Pulse is the main coin, but Wrap Pulse, as I said earlier, is the PRC20 version that they use in DeFi. Just like in Ethereum, there's a wrapped Ethereum. They use that for the DeFi liquidity pools. For DeFi, it's just got more contract flexibility as opposed to the main coin. So hopefully that explains that. Now, Wrap Pulse will just be a small fraction of the total amount of Pulse, just like Ethereum. Wrapped Ethereum is a small amount of the Ethereum. And of course, that's probably, I think it's about 12% or something like that, and it is the amount of coins. So hopefully that answers that. Got a few incentives already, says Rango. Nice work. I've explained the difference there, so hopefully that helps. Handyman says, seemed like the day would never come. I hope everyone is doing well. 100% Handyman. Epic Crypto says, so many trading for stables. Wait for the bridge. Even a rookie knows this. Yeah. So the stables are worth nothing, and they're waiting for the bridge there. So all the copies, the PRC20 copies, say all the stable coins you can think of, as I said earlier, are not worth anything. You have to wait for Pulsechain, a bridge to open the Pulse ramp. They call it the Pulse ramp, which is this bridge. And that is the bridge we're waiting for to go live. All right, so Pulse ramp bridge. I'll post that link in the chat there just so you guys know. All right, cool. This video is for beginners, of course, so hopefully that's helping you there. That is for beginners. There we are. Bam. All right. Let's see what else there. I know that quite a few of the other channels have been covering Pulsechain, but hopefully this channel just covering this on the more beginner side is helpful for you, because I know that they've been covering a lot of other more advanced stuff there. Let's see what else have we got here. D's in house there. If you're in Europe and having problems, use a VPN and connect to a US server. Nice advice. Okurani says, good. I already put some LP in farm, but I can't do more transactions now. Maybe in a few hours they're going to fix it. Yeah. So some people, I think, because of the RPC issue that was being around, it's actually getting better. So it's gone from 35 to 39, almost 39. Hopefully that's probably related to the issue that they're having. There is my guess. Obviously, let's get into it. Rango says, can't believe Pulse launched on my father-in-law's birthday. Nice one, Rango. Now, you're having a good day there, Rango. A frustrating day for me, says Great White. That's a shame. Great White's awesome member of this community. So get into our Discord, Great White, if you need any help. I think I did see a message or two from you in there. Wookie has a full house of Ewoks dancing to the chicken song. You're crazy, Wookie. I must say, you're absolutely crazy. I love it. What's it? Just secure your tokens and chill. Yeah. So if you're thinking about strategies, most people are just doing nothing. If you're in a position where you want to accumulate, you may be in a position where you're going to ratio trade, but just make sure you get the right ratio, right? So quite a few people are ratio trading the Hex for Pulse. We've seen the Pulse, that ratio go from like 100 to 150. That's pretty crazy. Even if we pick up, let's switch this around, put up Hex here at the moment. We're seeing lots of people do lots of different things like that. So one Hex, for example, let me just do it again. One is 115 at the moment. So some people think that this is probably worth the ratio on testnet previously has been like 200 or more. But at the moment, it's been trading between about 100 and 150. I'm not sure what it was early on because I wasn't looking at it at that stage. I'd have to go back on our video today at the beginning, but we did have a look at Hex a couple of times. But that is the ratio at the moment, 1 to 115. So if it goes to 1 to 200, that would be an interesting settlement there. Now Hex, I'd be very careful trading away your Hex because if you think about it, if Hex has just got pulled back on the Ethereum chain and almost halved, you can see here Ethereum Hex on Ethereum at the moment is 3.3 cents. But if it is treated as that it's 2.5 cents, we start at 5 and it goes to 2.5, something like that, or 2.7. Then recently, people were expecting that the Hex on the Pulse chain will probably, this is not financial advice, but probably we may see some big liquidity pools in or big whales come in and increase the size of the liquidity. And of course, when stable coins come in, we could see some big moves to make these prices either parity or at least synced at a certain ratio. And of course, lift the price. So if we have two halves, say 2.5 cents, 2.5 cents, it'd be 5 cents total and together. And then of course, after that, who knows what happens after that, right? So it's very important. So good to remember. So don't be careful which pairs you're trading and really think about, is that the best move? So just make sure those ratios are good for you. Do a lot of thinking, listen to a lot of people that have been talking about it, and you might get a good estimation. But of course, moving before the bridge is probably the best position. You can get a good ratio because obviously once US dollars come in, that's the second phase, and man, fireworks begin. Fireworks begin when it's got a US dollar price, right? So getting lots of tokens, your favorite tokens, if you're clever at getting it, congratulations, because it's probably going to pay off pretty well for you. I bought some Hex yesterday and missed the copy and missed the 50% dump, lol, says Rango. That's just unfortunate. No one quite knew the actual block height, but we knew that it was coming up pretty soon because of the 7-day launch window. So it was a tricky one to get, Rango. We got Tintop in the house there. What's up? Good to see you, Tintop. Blair's in the house as well. Good to see you, Blair. Rango's going, what exchange do we think will list Pulsex first? Well, we went through a whole list of them in our first live stream. So any one of those, I definitely think OKX, Gate.io, Qcoin, things like that are definitely top contenders. Maybe Crypto.com, stuff like that definitely looks top contenders to me. Hexalations in the house there. Happy Pulsechain launch day, 100%. Superman is a legend, pumping out tutorial streams. Hey, thanks, Anita. Appreciate that. Hexer was just talking to someone that had connection issues, and it was a VPN issue. Cool to see. So there's some VPN issues going on. Definitely is part of the problem. Finally, after 2 years of waiting, 100%. Yeah, very, very exciting. Was it 666 days or 667 days? It was pretty amazing. But we're here now. We're here now, and it's all beginning. Morning, Hex Token family. What a day running adrenaline, 100%. The adrenaline's only getting started. We've got to be covering this every day. It's going to be pretty exciting. Let's go here. The Pulsechain Bridge is not open yet. This is the second phase of the launch. If you think about it like that, it's an easy way of thinking about it. That is not open yet. We don't have US dollar prices or stable coins. You're going to be able to bridge other coins as well. You can think about Hex from Ethereum, for example. You imagine pulling Hex of Ethereum over the Pulse chain, tying those two up in liquidity with the Hex on Pulse. And, we're going to see some fun games, right? Passive incomes, all sorts of opportunities there from parity, price parities, all sorts of things were potentially on the board. So we'll see. Linux Master says, thanks. You're welcome. So what else have we got here? You can only trade the tokens ERC20s that were in your wallet pre-fork, 100%. So whatever you got in the big copy on the fork, you should have in your wallet, and you can ratio trade those. And of course, they'll all be different ratios, so just take them into account. Linux says, so that's the only way is with the bridge. Yes, so the bridge is going to be the first way, the bridge between Ethereum and Pulsechain, the Pulse Ramp bridge, which is the one we're looking at the moment. But I understand that Portal X, which has got a partnership with Multi-Chain, they are currently running at the moment, and they, as I understand, I think they're within the next couple of weeks, they're going to be launching, is my understanding. Now, if they get in earlier, that'd be really cool. So definitely worth following their team. But not Sacrifice, let's go to their apps. So Portal X here is pretty impressive. We covered this earlier today, but looking really, really good here. Let me take this over to the bridge. And of course, you'll be able to do over 63 bridges here. 63 blockchains. So it's multi-chain, and it's also a super DEX aggregator that's going to get you the best results. It's easy as one click. You basically click the blockchain, click the token that you want, in this case, Ethereum coin. You'll click the Pulse chain, which will probably be up within the next few weeks, and you'll be able to have that running. But let's pretend that Pulse chain is up when we're actually closing Polygon, and we want Matic. So you'll be able to quickly swap between your ETH coins on Ethereum through to Polygon, for example, or through to Pulse chain, and you'll be able to do it with a one-click button, basically, and it will find you the best result across all these other DEXs, and it's really cool. And this will include, obviously, the Pulse Ramp, which is the official bridge. But that could be up to a few weeks ago, I hear, is what I heard on the street there. So that's the key there. So just stay tuned, folks. Second phase is going to be pretty exciting too. What else there? Let's jump into that. Let's go back into Pulse, and let's go into Pulse X. Let's put in $1 million there. I think $1 million's good. It's like $100 for the sacrifice phase. What else have we got going on here? Cold wallets included in airdrop. So wallets that are anything that you control on the blockchain, that's your wallet, you will get, and you had those assets in the Pulse chain fork. Let me just bring up the fork time here. So anything that you had here on the May the 10th at this time on the block 17,232,999, that would be on the blockchain on Pulse chain. So if you control that address, you'll have access to it. So if you've got a ledger or treasure or anything like that, that's integrating, they're really just holding your private keys. And of course, you connect to a MetaMask to see any chain that you got there. So they should be compatible with that. So that shouldn't be an issue. Don't keep any tokens on exchanges. Yeah. So if you had any tokens on exchanges before Pulse chain forked on this date on the 10th of May, then they wouldn't. You're going to have to beg your exchange for those, and you're unlikely to get them. But you can try. It's pretty much it. So you have to have things on Ethereum, get them copied over to Pulse chain, and obviously you can ratio trade those if you want to, but that's not encouraged generally. Any tokens in your ETH wallet would have been copied, 100%. Al Man says, sweet, thanks, you're welcome. Thanks, Richard Hart, to be honest, and his team. But yeah, that's cool. What else there? Vajendra there says, how to see a Pishi Banu and Pulse. I don't know what that one is. You'll have to let me know. I don't know what that is, that name. So yeah, not familiar with that token. Remember, there are scam tokens all around. You've got to be careful what you interact with, even on Pulse chain, so to be careful. I know the team's probably done their best to mitigate that, but just remember that is the case. People are prepared to 20x for Pulse IOU. Pulse expecting Pulse to do 10x at the moment out of the gate, says Cian. Yeah, we're going to find out when the bridge opens up for sure, but PLS IOU. Now, there was an update. If you did buy that on the market, the BNB pot team has given an update on that, so we'll talk about that. They have given an update that you'll be able to claim that pretty shortly. I thought I had this claim update here. Yeah, I think it's on Telegram, but they're going to give an update soon on that. Let's see what we've got in here. I thought it was on here. I've seen it somewhere else. So yeah, they're going to have an update about the PLS IOU, and you're going to be able to claim that probably by tomorrow, is my guess. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. What else here? What's the top right pulse price come from? This one up here. This one here is linked into, I'm not sure what they've linked. I think they've priced it in. This is not real. So just take that into account. I'm not sure why they've put what they've got that up there for. I think it's kind of linked to $1 or something, but that is not real. Yeah, other people have talked about that as well. So yeah, stay tuned. I think they've just got that to make it look like that's what the price is going to be. In theory, when it works, not in actuality, but just to show you a demonstration there. What's going on with the MetaMask? Can't connect anymore. You may have some of the issues with the VPN some people talked about. There's also an issue, obviously, with the RPC is a little bit behind, 39%, but it is starting to catch up. That may be an issue as well. What else? Mr. Feroz, good evening, sir. Good evening to you. Pulse to the moon, 100%. Please share the Pulse X. What's a PLX contract? You mean PLS contract? Let me know, Godwin. Clarify that one. That'd be great. How to get free PLS to begin using gas? Well, if you had Ethereum on the chain, you would be able to get 1 pulse or a fraction of pulse for that. So if you did have some Ethereum in your wallet, you probably got a fraction of a pulse. So that's one way. As I said, the other way, of course, is that you may have to wait for a free pulse. Other than that, you may have to ask a friend for some pulse as well. So that's the other thing you can do. Obviously, some people are careful not to dox their addresses. So you may find that a little bit hard to get, but those are some of your options there. What else? Hi, how to ensure we have the right wrap coins to trade when the bridge opens. So you're talking about on Ethereum. So if you're talking about on Ethereum, obviously some popular ones are in terms of stable coins will be DAI. DAI is what the Sacrifice wallet is holding. It is what the bridge is used as default through testnet. It's also what the farm through testnet is at as well. So DAI in terms of stable seems to be the most favored. And probably the reason for that is that it is over collateralized. It's also made up of a basket of securities, not just the USDC. It's got a bit of ETH and a few other, I think, Wrap Bitcoin, a few other things in there. So that's kind of the one of choice. Obviously, you have other options that you can bring over as well. So there is, let's go to the bridge here. You can see on the ETH chain here, we've been playing around with Hex. So Hex on ETH, wrapped ETH, of course. We've been able to play with that as well. Yeah, there's going to be obviously other coins you can bring in as well. So yeah, up to you, but there seem to be popular choices. A DCR says, congrats everybody, 100%. Kerry Crypto says, thanks, man. You're welcome. What else we got going there? PRCs20s.com is currently down. Yeah, that would make sense because it was failing me. It was failing me when I need PRC20s the most. It was failing me, but it does work. I assure you. And we did it earlier today. So maybe it's just overloaded. I don't know. But PRC20s is a good site. But in any case, you can use the scan site, the official chat checker there, PRC20 token scanner. You just have to connect your wallet, and this is an official site. And then you can click scan, and it will start checking. Look at that. Woo! It's going through all those tokens like a crazy boss. 5,039 of them. It's still going through. I'm going to click stop. I got nothing on this wallet. There's just a Play wallet and a Play computer. So, yeah. Morning side for life says Rob Patrick, 100%. Display says, will EHEX be copied on PHEX if you have it staked on ETH? Yeah, so if you had Hex, so let's go back to the fork here. If you had Hex either liquid or staked on Ethereum, and you had it before block 17,232,999, basically the 10th of May at 10:36 at night, if you had those staked or liquid, they all got copied over. So how do you interact with them? That's what you're asking. Well, there are 2 dApps that you can use at least. There's the official dApp, gohex.com. And if you've on Pulsechain, all you have to have it switches your wallet over to Pulsechain. So you just make sure you're on Pulsechain, and you'll be able to see your stakes on the Pulsechain is already up and running. Thumbs up for that, eh? Now, the other one you can use, of course, if you've got Hex stakes as well, you want to see them copied over to Pulsechain. Basically, you got two now. You got stake Hex on Ethereum and stake Hex on Pulsechain. Super thumbs up for that. We love Rich Hart. Go for gold. You can that's the wrong one. Now I'm wise again. Why did I do that twice today? Icosa. You can go to Cosa.pro. This is the second one. So Hex.com. And of course, I'll post this in the chat there. This is the official Hex T-share mining stake pool, whatever we're going to call it. So that is it there. And then, of course, the second one is a Cosa app. You can go to that. This is multi-token and multi-protocol. So it's got the Hex stakes there, including your Hedron mints. And of course, this is on multiple chains. It's got Hedron as well. It's also got High Cosa. And I think the HSI auctions, I'm not sure when they'll be starting, but I guess that might be re-enabled. That's the only thing that doesn't seem to be running. But that's pretty cool too. So I'll post that in the chat as well. So you got both of those. Thumbs up there. You copied Hex stakes twice the goodness. But of course, the price of Hex has kind of done a halving, as it were, for the Pulsechain. But we will see what it's worth in the future. It's going to be fun to see. So that's kind of cool. Where we're up to now, I think we're moving okay. We're up to an hour. It's going to finish an hour, but we'll just go through these final questions. So no more questions, please. We're just going to go through the end. What else we got here? Jump through those. Harvey Diaz says, are we rich yet? Not yet, not quite. We have to wait. But hey, a general piece of advice is be careful on your ratios if you're ratio trading. Also, the other thing is, of course, is that if you are, a lot of people, what they are doing, not just ratio trading at the moment, but a lot of people are going into this farm because they're harvesting the incentive tokens at the moment. So they've put PulseX and Pulse in the farm, and they're getting the incentive tokens. So that's a big deal. Because it's early, the APR is probably very high. We can't see the APR, but it's probably very high at the moment. And of course, that means a lot of people are going into there. So you're wondering what's going on. It's also making bigger liquidity pools. People are buying more of the tokens, swapping the tokens. So we're getting a lot more buy and burn as well. So there's lots of mechanisms going on there at the moment. All right, let's jump over to, let's go leave it there. Let's go back to the trade exchange. Let's go put that back in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're up to 1 to 3.7 on the ratio at the moment. DB Cooper said we did it. Woohoo! We did, DB. And guess what, DB? No, you don't have to ask anymore when Pulsechain, because we're here. We're here. That's the last time. It was yesterday. Yesterday was the last time you ever asked it. Hello from New York City, says Sean. Hey, hello to you. When is now? 100%, DB. When is now? 2 people I know got 1 Pulse in their wallets for transactions, and they only sacrificed for PulseX. Nice. Yeah, that's true. That's right. So if you had sacrificed for PulseX, you would have got 1 Pulse. That is true. A nice one there, Rango. Where do you find PulseX contract, please? Well, I did post that at the beginning of the live stream under Richard Hart there, Kiwi Crypto. But for you, I'll go the extra mile and say you can go to Pulsechain and you can add it straight on the web page here. So you go to the pulsechain.com and you can add the contract directly. So there it is for you, which is a really quick, sneaky way. Other than that, you can do it on PulseX by typing PulseX in and adding that, which is pretty cool too. So nice. I think that was your question. PulseX, yeah. So all you have to do is click Add Pulsechain to MetaMask. We'll do that. See, it's got, and it brings up a second button as well. Add PulseX to MetaMask, and it does that. So we'll add the contract. Isn't that cool? So you can do it on the Pulsechain homepage and on Pulsex.com. I think you can do it too, which is pretty easy. All right, what else we got going here? What else? Displays there says it says Hex is not available on Pulsechain Mainnet. Pulsechain Mainnet. That can't be right. It's working for me. Working for me, display. I don't know about you, but secretly I have so many expectations, says Clippy. That's funny. No expectations. Happy Pulse Day, you all. And kind of cool. So yeah, Displays EZ, I've got no problems with it. So not sure which one you're referring to. But yeah, working okay for me on both go.hex and the other one. That's pretty much it. I think we're up to an hour and 5. That was the overview for beginners. Hopefully that helped. A lot of people had a lot of questions. I think we answered a lot of them. And stay tuned. Yeah. Thanks for all your hard work, man. Hey, you're welcome. And you guys have a good night. It's currently, guess what time it is here? 10 o'clock at night. Take care, everybody. I know Hexo, I think it's running a 24-hour stream. So you can go check out that. Take care. Discord is in the chat there, in the link, and of course we can have chats in there. Get in there, but hopefully we've answered most of your questions. Awesome stuff. All right, take care, everybody. I'm going to play out some Richard Hart on the way out. So let's do that. Make sure I get the right video this time. There we are. Let's play it.
Light the candles up for Pulse launch. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll do that. Hello, everybody. I've waited a very long time for this day. It's finally come. I'm very happy. Light the candles up for Pulse launch. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll do that.